Portuguese colony. And this fellow was assimilated, and as an assimilated, he was, so to speak, an honorary white. He was talking about the power relationship, that it would shift one day. Well, that was definitely a no-no in the Belgian Congo. And that was the main reason. Because for all the other things, his teaching was fine. He told his followers not to drink alcohol, not to smoke tobacco, not to engage in exotic, erotic dances. Those were good things. So they would not arrest him for that. And even told him you're not supposed to go to bed naked. But he was arrested, carried to Tesville, Manzamungu, and prior to the judgment, the law was changed. The whole region was put under martial law. That meant that if you committed an infraction, which was deemed by a military tribunal, and when Kimbangu was arrested in 1921, in September, they extended the power of the military tribunal. So he was judged by a war military tribunal. He was a civilian, his followers were civilian. Why a military tribunal? It was, as they say here, a kangaroo court. They didn't mean to judge him because he was already condemned before, even he appeared on. Neither he or his followers had legal representation. So as soon as the few minutes they gave them in the tribunal were over, the sentence was pronounced, he was condemned, and he was to be hanged. Then the king of Belgium, Albert I, commuted his sentence to life in prison, and he was taken away from his region of origin and transported to Katanga. And there he was in prison for all those years, 30 years. Now you may ask me, but what happened to the movement when that happened? Well, first of all, the people did not lose faith that he's gone, we'll never see him again. They believed that Papa Simon would come back. In the dark of the night, they would pray. So I didn't know why we were praying that way. And my brother said, one day you will know. One day I will tell you. So I left and went back to the boarding school. What I'm telling you is that people prayed everywhere in the forest. There was just a hint. There may be some Kimbangistas there or followers of Kimbangu. They will be arrested. And those who were arrested now in those days, they were deported maybe 500 kilometers and more. Regions that you didn't know, didn't know anybody there, you didn't know the language, they just take you there and throw you out there. Of course, the premises of this particular strategy or tactic on the part of the Belgians was that if we take them from Lower Congo, because the more they deported people, the more they created communities in those places they were sending them. And these people lived in solidarity for one another. They helped one another in every possible way. Also, in those days, some of them would leave a place and would travel to other communities. What were they doing? These were like missionaries. They would go and preach the word, to say the word. Not all of them that could read, but those who did and who had the courage, they would send them to places. And when they arrived in the place, there always was somebody from Lower Congo that would welcome them for underground railroad. And so, while trying to forbid this religion to rise up, they themselves put in place a mechanism that helped the religion to strive, to grow, etc. And what did they do with that Papacy? Mama Mwilu stepped in. Mama Marie Mwilu, his wife, became the leader. Came to see her, to teach, to seek advice, and give them direction. So, from that period to 1959, I believe, she was the uncontested leader. In 1969, 10 years later, the Kimbangist Church became a member of the World Council of Churches, the ecumenical movement. But that was not all. As he began to develop the church, he also took care of the educational system. The young people in the church had to go to school, but he didn't want them to go to Catholic or Protestant schools like he did. He was forced to. So Kimbangist schooling system started with a lot of difficulties because they didn't have money to pay teachers. Some volunteers their hours to teach. And then they start really getting some nominal salaries. And he built the church. Those who have been to Kinshasa probably visited our biggest church at Matete. That church was built brick by brick, instituted a process by which members compete every Sunday to contribute something. Like we have our communities here in Atlanta, Gwinnett, Fulton, the Cab, etc., etc. When you come, I'm from the Cab, and I don't want the people who came from Gwinnett to beat us. So if I see how much they gave, I would call my folks and say, listen, what is going on? We have to do better. And they will do better, and they will do better. So through that process, they build churches, they build schools, everything they do. Unlike the traditional Roman Catholic or Protestant churches that wait for the fathers. When they say fathers, you know, those missionaries that were there, be the Americans or Belgians, whatever they call them fathers, to send them money, to send them this, to send them that. If I'm lying with you Congolese here, you can tell them that I'm lying, okay? But that's the way it is. The Kimbangist people paved the way to self-determination, self-sufficiency, and total independence in managing their institutions. It was done then, it's still being done now. When I left the country, Nkamba was a small village. Now Nkamba is a city, all built by the membership of the church. And yet, Diangienda, instead of being greeted with flowers for what he did, was able to accomplish in spite of all those difficulties. I think he was the most insulted person of his rank in the Congo. That they were stupid, those Kimbangists. They don't know what they're doing. They give the money every Sunday, but the money they were giving was showing the work that was being done in the church. So, why all those insults? Scholars insulted him. Said, well, now he created a church. Kimbangu didn't mean to create a church. He didn't want to create a church. Well, can somebody show us if we went to Jerusalem, to Nazareth, and all that Holy Land, any little church that Jesus left? There is none. But there are churches everywhere bearing the names of Jesus, that Jesus was crucified here, Jesus was born here, Jesus is resurrected here, all those things being built by the churches today. So why? Well, Diangienda was a revisionist, said the theologian, because he has abandoned the doctrine of his father. There was no abandonment of the doctrine of his father. Yeah, we may have some delinquents in our church, like every church, but the same precepts. And above all, preaches love, and we're supposed to love one another. We did that. He was criticized for joining the ecumenical movement, saying that, well, Diangienda wanted patrons in Europe, patron that is sponsors in Europe, to give him money. But he didn't need that money. I just explained to you the process through which humanists strive to build and accomplish things. They don't need money from outside. Of course, if I were to send a check, they would not return it to me. But they're not. They didn't ask me for one, but yes, I'll be glad to send. They would destroy them themselves, and they would be caught with nothing on them. Some still in the hands of the few, but you have to know them. And they don't want to give them to you either. It's theirs. But I think that with the museum, if the chef spiritual, the head of the church, asked them to contribute those documents, or whatever they have, related to the history of the church, and no doubt in my mind, they would happily donate those things to church. Well, deviation, no. By the same token, there was also criticism because now, I begin by saying the Kimbangists did not receive money for their education. That Diangienda made sure that Kimbangists get the subsidies, like the Catholics, like Salvation Army, like the Protestants were receiving. This was misconstrued and misinterpreted by the people outside of the church who didn't know anything about that he sold out because he became friends with Mobutu, who was a dictator. At that time, as the subsidies were approved, I was the principal. It was not a gift from the government. They had prepared the documents to show that the others were confessional schools as well. And they received money. Why not us? Because that was the law of the land, that the government supported education by giving this much. Now, if they get some additional money from outside, that's another issue. But the money that the government was giving to education, we were entitled to it. So they recognized our system of education, and then we started getting money. The friendship between Diangienda and Joseph Mobutu and any other chef stemmed from two things. Before he became a religious leader, before independence, he worked under the governor of the province of Congo Kasai. And the name of that governor was Monsieur Peigneux. He was the highest paid African in those days, in the whole country. So it was a sacrifice, humanly speaking, spiritually no. It was a sacrifice for him to leave that position, to come to a position where he earned nothing. The friendship he had came from that first, because he was well known by people. People who needed favors from the government, who want to go through the governor, they came to him. They came through him to get to see the governor for their letters, whatever. They came through him. So he knew these people. Mobutu in particular, he knew him as a young cadet in the city where Diangienda was working with the governor. And finally, when Mobutu or somebody in government finally recognizes you, that you too are a national entity like all the others, should you be mean to that person? There was no reason to be mean. So he was being criticized for that. But the thing is that all these big pastors, all these big shops of the other denominations that were used to being the one to be seen on every big holidays became very jealous to see these people in green and white to be also so honored. So that's basically what happens. And so to conclude, especially for many of you, I presume you are younger than me, because the drama of history that we just did, we have only a few words to say. To you young people, my brothers and sisters, you heard a lot of things. And now with these phones and your computers, you see a lot of things, read a lot of things, hear a lot of things. And you think that those are the best sources to do research. Don't believe them. Because when I came back from Katanga, where Papa Simon Kimbangu was in prison, that's where I went to study, and came back to Kinshasa. I came to greet Papa Diangienda. The first thing he said to me, Musantu, who is it? Musantu in our language means my namesake. So he said, oh, you are back, you'll come back. We need you. And so that's how I became the principal of the school at age 23. And the internet, if I had listened to what I heard, I thought that Papa Diangienda was a horrible human being. But I just laid here a portrait of this man with all those accomplishments and how a fair and a just person that he was. As a principal, and I just say I was young, I was very impatient. I frustrated many pastors who came to school because they told me what to do. And I said, look, I report to the director of the school system, our school system. I don't report to the church pastor. And of course the old man didn't like that. But I did. So they were going to accuse me to the Papa Diangienda, spiritual leader. Like one day, his children came late to school and they had the car. Just go back. I didn't want to see you. So I told them to go back. And then the driver said, but the Papa said, I said, no, you go back. Because the kids who don't have cars got here on time, and you have a car. Papa did not tell you to be late. You decided to be late. You made this driver to be late because he always comes on time. Before even the car got back home, the news got home. So before school was over, well, I had to go there, you know. So, well, you know, they're going to fire you, you know. I said, why? So, after school, you know, I went by and I didn't get even to the door yet. He said, Musantu, I know what happened. So, I said, oh, you know? Yes, I know what happened. But you were right what you did. You were right. If you have to do it again, I tell you, do it again. Because they were late. They had no reason to be late. This is to say that he was the fairest man, the best organized man, and a very spiritual man that I knew. Don't go to the internet. I know it's not fair to say, but you see them, and you see people like myself, now like, if you don't know, ask us. You don't need the internet to tell you. She will tell you. She will tell you. I can tell you a few things. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. That was 73 years old, Professor McKinney. Give it up, please. Give it up. Thank you very much. Let me just pick up a few lines, okay? As I follow him. He said, isolation. When they heard about what someone Kimbangu was doing, let's isolate him. Take him away from his home to send him somewhere else where he can speak not that language. Isolation. See, when you pray if somebody tells you don't pray no more, they isolating you so you can't give up. Don't do it. That's a bad brother. That's a bad friend. Don't do it. You stay pray. You stay pray. Stay focused on a mission. But see, when you're dealing with God, you might think, okay, I'm going to do this to him. I'm going to take him away. I'm going to snatch him away, put him somewhere he's going to be isolated so he can do no more God's work. Guess what? They were wrong. Instead of deteriorating the system, instead of killing the system, that was just a few. Well, look at your skin. I'm going to be white tomorrow. No! He was talking about the shift of the power. Today, 2008, we all witnessing Barack Obama being elected as a black president. We saw some Asian people cry, emotion, because what they went through, the history, the suffering, how long they were waiting to have somebody in the big stage like the President of the United States. Now go yourself, go imagine. Anyway, we just seeing the things that's happening right now. We got some pride, some power. We got some directors, some CEOs, people building, black people with a lot of money right now, running things, running country. In Africa, we didn't have that before someone Kimbangu. We didn't have it. And yet he said, the days to come, the black man will take control of his own country. And that's what happened. So we have, pushed up independence everywhere. Before you know, Congo was independent. Before you know, Angola was independent. Many countries became independent. So that's a piece of story that we're here to hear. It's very important. That rise up was important for us. Spiritually, we need to keep on rising up. Stay praying. So once again, Dr. McKay, we are so thankful to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And next, another one man that needs no introduction. We'll call him Dr. Freeman. Am I right, Dr. Freeman? That's right.
Some call me that.
I know. Dr. Freeman. He's representing Dr. Beasley. As I told you, he'll be flying tonight to Nigeria. So, Doctor, I'll let yourself introduce this Kimbangu nation, and then I'll give you the word. Please go ahead. Thank you very much. I'll get that microphone close to you so that we can hear that.
Je ne parle pas. Je ne parlerai français. Parlerai English possible.
That's right.
Okay.
Good enough.
Thank you very much. I was teasing you about being 73 because in a month and a half I'll be 75. So I was trying to make myself feel better. Thank you for your brief but considerable history. It was very interesting to me. I'm sorry that I got here late this afternoon, but in my defense, and I am an attorney as well as an educator, I did show up at 9:30 this morning, and I was all by myself, so I didn't know quite what was going on. Joseph later told me that you are gathering this afternoon, but I did not know I was going to be addressing you this afternoon. So I come prepared, unprepared in that regard, but prepared to share with you whatever I do have to share. In hearing you talk in terms of returning to the boarding school, it made me remember that, and white folks in particular, are pretty decent. I can only remember one or two white children who lived in our neighborhood. We lived in what was known as the ghetto and public projects. And I guess I was a pretty good student, and I thought I was a pretty good athlete too. I was going behind my back and through my legs back then, some 50-something years ago, 60-something years ago, I guess. Well, anyway, I got a phone call one day, and someone said, "You've been awarded a scholarship." Well, I didn't know what the word scholarship meant, to be honest with you. Luckily, my older sister did, and she told my mom. And somehow I found out that Yale University, which is in New Haven, had picked me up. But for 2 years I studied under the guidance of Yale students. And that's where I learned my little French and Latin, and even English. My first English teacher told me I got a 2+ on my first exam. And he said, "Son, you got a lot to learn." And I'm glad he recognized that, and he was very helpful. Another thing that happened in those days was one of my history teachers was doing a lesson on surnames. And she got to John's son, they called John's son, and so on. And she went around the room, and she got to me. She said, Freeman. The only thing I can think of was when your people were freed from slavery. One of them said, "I'm a free man." You know, and that sort of hit me like a ton of bricks, to be honest with you. I had never identified with slavery or Africa. I mean, I was a kid, you know. But since that time, I've been fiercely proud to be a free man and a free black man, to whatever extent I could be. And I've spent most of my life, both in the law and in education, trying to be helpful to other black people around the world. As you may know, I visited with Joseph to the Congo. I just returned a couple of weeks ago. I've spent most of the last 9 months in Brazil, which has the largest African descendant population outside of Africa. They have some 3 times as many people of African descendancy as we have here in the United States. And gunned down within the last week. Just outright killed. She had garnered the most votes of any of the city council people. And I guess that just really threatened the white folks who control Brazil, and they shot her down like a dog within the last week. So we have work to do. I'm not Congolese. I don't belong to the Kimbangu church, but to the extent that we worship and strive for the same things, the betterment of our people as a whole, I greeted you as my family, and that's exactly how I feel. I am not exactly sure where you would like me to go, Joseph. I personally have served as an attorney, as I've told you. I've served in a number of administrations in Washington, D.C. After getting out of law school, I was with the National Labor Relations Board, the Federal Labor Relations Authority, and I won't go into what all these different agencies do, but the US EEOC, where I handled class actions for employment discrimination. I've served as corporate counsel. I've served as counsel for individuals. I've been a businessman. I've been an educator. I know a little about how our system works. I don't claim to have exhaustive knowledge, but I got enough, I think, to be helpful in whatever capacities that I can be. I make myself available to Joseph and members of the church, and again, welcome whatever you can share with me, and I will gladly share with you that which I know and that which I have. Let me tell you a little about what's going on in Brazil, because it's going on.
Toza kuimona pasi, but toza kubela. Me yo oza na 20 car, 30 car na ndako na yo. Me baninga na yo omoni loposo na yo moko otali bango na nzela baza kokufa. Mai ezate, biloko lia ezate, condition ezali te. Ndenge na moni la bato wana pas différent ndenge na zo moni la Trump. Eko sala yo pasi. Mais mutu oyo o azali pour la développement ya peuple te. Soko ozali ko pesa valeur na peuple te. Ngala yo moeto za nzela moko ezati. Donc plus important maloba ye a sali. Mais a lobby azali avocat na likamone soko salisa mutu muindo ya ko salisa mo. Dr. Freeman, I was just summarizing what you said to folks here, and I pointed up a few lines trying to relate what Simon Kimbangu and the Father Diangienda Kuntima did. Our main motto is that the black man needs to be a black man, needs to become somebody. Our work is to better black men. And you were saying that you would do anything that you can to help. And you oppose to those that strive to continue to see suffering. And if you are one of those, I'm sorry, I won't be on your side. Those are your words. In other words, that's how I see it. We are so pleased because you said that the fight of Simon Kimbangu to better black men, it's your fight too. We are pleased for that. So we are thankful to have you. And once again, my brothers and sisters, give it up. Dr. Freeman. All right, we're going to be taking some questions. Don't worry if you have any, write it down. So Gozana Mutuna, Skoma Yango, Tango Zaliko Ya. Menokino. The 22nd, March 22nd, 1918. And March 22nd, 2018. 100 years, brothers, 100 years. Papa Diangienda was the immediate continuation of Papa Simon Kimbangu. Lord Jesus said, Kimbangu, I have chosen you to lead your brothers and sisters, to witness your brothers and sisters. Lead them. I feel sorry for the gospel that's being preached to them, telling them you have no value, you don't mean nothing, your prayers can't go straight to God unless you come to me, the white man. That's what we're taught in Africa. The gods that you prayed didn't mean nothing unless you went to a master. Be faithful to him, submissive, be humble. That's what they taught us. The God was not happy about it. He said, please go restore the trust of the gospel. Tell them, I listen to them. I know them. I don't just listen to the white man, I listen to the black man too. You go and tell them that they belong to me, they're my people. That was the job of Simon Kimbangu. And Jesus made sure to anoint him to say that one day you'll be the governor of your own people. That's when the black will become white comes from. And from that prophecy, countries in Africa start having independence. We still struggle. It ain't easy. He didn't say, we're going to come independent, everything going to be all right. He didn't say that. We still struggle. Just like here in the United States. We have a power. Dr. Freeman is attorney. But we still struggle. As a black world, as a black nation, we're still struggle. But that was the key word. So that was passed on to Papa Diangienda Kuntima, who has done so much to build this church. That's why you see us here in white and green. With a cam universal. You go everywhere, you're gonna find us for sure. I tell you that. We'll be there. No matter what country you go, whatever the language they speak there, we're gonna speak it. We'll be there. That's for sure. So, thank you so much, Dr. Freeman. Thank you so much, Professor McKinney.
You didn't know being a white guy.
There you go.
That wasn't an accident.
Give it up one more time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's go give a minute to Brother Joseph to give us some more, and then we're going to put it together. Then we'll be taking questions for everybody, whatever you might have. So we can close this.
Professor McKinney, you know, people don't like to talk about themselves. But he's a great big personality here. He's been teaching in the university over 30 years. He's even a dean. He's an alumni. Why not? And Dr. Freeman, he used to be also the president of the university, a lawyer, everything. And he traveled with me in Kamba. Those who saw the picture, that was the happy man on the picture. Muito azarane sengo, tanto voyager na Kamba na 2015. Azo yamba mama nyonso na bakoko ye. Dr. Freeman, the happy man, like himself he said, Freeman. So, like today, I'm not going to repeat what Professor McKinney has already told everybody. I'm trying to be brief, I can't. As you can look at the map, everybody, I need you to look on the board. Na libotara na tableau. I know Professor McKinney tell you not to trust the internet. This is just a statistic. I just wanna, if you can forgive me.
It's all right.
So, if you look at the map, you will see that's the time from the slavery was took in Africa to bring them here in America. Based on this statistic from 1600 to 1867. Look inside Africa. You're gonna tell me, somebody in the room can tell me, which area of Africa you have more slavery, more black taken here in the United States? Somebody in the room can say quickly? Do you see? Can you see which area in the map? There are Senegal, Biafra, whatever, West, Central, Orion, North, Onion. Look the statistic, right? No, I'm not talking about country. I'm talking about just read the map. The area.
West Coast.
Okay. Do you know West Coast? Which country are on the West Coast?
You got Senegal, that's 150,000.
Congo, Cameroon.
You don't have, look at the map very well. Everybody, we are on the same page?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason I show this map, that's we're going to understand why we're talking about Papa Simon Kimbangu. Because we say that Papa Simon Kimbangu is the liberator of the black race. When we look at it, the slavery, when we go home, now when we go back in the days, we used to have what we called the Kingdom of Congo. The Kingdom of the Congo, it started early. The story of slavery, not in this map, but based on the slavery and entire, they was trying to situate it between 1480s to 1489. Those are the time they believe the slavery started. 1480s, 1489, between those years. They're not exact. Some people talk about 1483, some 1484, some 1487, but at least we, based on the research, is done around that time. Now, from 1487 to 1887 is 400 years. What the 1887 is, 1887 is the year where Papa Samuel Kimbangu was born. So 1487, by the time the slavery started, to 1880 was born. Now, I'm going to give you homework. If you go home, you can go read Genesis chapter 15, I believe. I'm going to read a little bit. It's just two verses. Genesis chapter 15, from 13 to 16. I don't have my glasses. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Then the Lord said to Abraham, Your offspring will be foreigners in a land that does not belong to them. They will be enslaved and oppressed 400 years. However, I will judge the nation they serve, and afterward they will go out with many possessions. But you will go to your fathers in peace and be buried at a great old age. So this is people of Israel. So we know the slave we know in this millionaire, and the slave we read in the Bible. The history of slave started with a generation of Abraham. When is Jacob? From Jacob, you know, where God changed Jacob's name in Israel. Jacob has 12 kids. One of them was Joseph, was sold to Egypt by his brothers. And from there, he became a governor, a well-known person. To him, all the family came in Egypt to find a place when there was a famine in the area. Was 400 years. Is that a simple coincidence? I don't think so. We'll find, let's continue explain the illustration. Now, even if God promised, the people from Israel, they're going to be slaves for 400 years. But let's read again in Exodus. But by the time that God decided, when he brought Moses to them, he spent in the exactly 1491. Now, if you do the math, from 1491 to April 1921, the 430 years after, exactly the same way. So really, when you do that parallelism, you can tell really Papa Samuel Kimbangu is the liberator of the black race. Because there's no coincidence. God has put everything is in the Bible. There's no new things. The things happen in the past will happen now. The same way, probably people now today, they're waiting for the sheep, you know, okay. If today, somebody come today, say, I'm in the mountain of Georgia. I'm building the ship. God asked me to do so. I think many people will go ahead. Because they will remember relationship with the people he knew really how to. So we have a mission. The Papa Diangienda, I speak some of the things like when in 1961 he made a travel in Australia. When he got to the Australia, the ministry of the Prime Minister, those who know, can you help me? The name of the Prime Minister, Del Maya, I believe. The Prime Minister, 1961, anyway, the name, yeah. But there was a Prime Minister, Israel Prime Minister was a lady, she was a well-known lady. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, Golda Meir, exactly. Yeah. So Golda Meir came, she was a lady, she sent a ministry of a kilt to come and welcome Papa Diangienda to the airport. Then, after, when they present Papa Diangienda his room, everything, before that even God the man sent the minister to ask Papa Diangienda, Israel had a water issue that time. They were like a dry. It was like probably 3 years without rain. Then they said, we know your father. We heard about your father. If really you are a son of Kimbangu, this is the issue we are having here in Israel. We don't have a water, we don't have a rain in 3 years. Can you ask your father so we can have a rain? Okay, Papa Diangienda said, okay, I will ask. And when they went in his room, they presented him in the room, he led a prayer. That night, he went in Israel 3 nights. The Prime Minister, Golda Meir, he calls Papa Diangienda, she called Papa Diangienda home to thank him. And Papa Diangienda was granted a citizen of it was like they know Israel to be granted a citizen of Israel, but he never really used it anyway. But at least he was. So those are like the part of his miracle. Papa Diangienda in 1965 or 66, he went to another country. No, 1965. He came here in the United States. He traveled everywhere, Louisiana, Boston. He knows he met his foot here. And in 1972, when the first astronaut went to the moon, something the world never talked about. Something the United States is still hiding. But today is the centenary of Papa Diangienda. We have a right to say the truth. We have a right to say some of the things people know, but they don't want to say that to people because they know the truth. They know. The State Department knows. They have all the secret about what's going on around the world. When they went to the moon, they found a man. They found somebody. They used the, oxygen, everything to go there. With the, but over there, you can't, without oxygen, you can't live, you can't even stand. But they see somebody without anything. They took that picture. When they came, they traveled. They were looking at that black man they saw. They found that was the man they saw there was a black man. After they found out that black man was in Africa, they have to go to Africa. Then they found out it was in the Congo. They went. Those who know in 1972, the astronaut came in the Congo. When they came there, they found that time was President Mobutu. They asked President Mobutu if they knew the man. And President Mobutu said, "Well, yeah, that's my homonym, Sandoi." So because they have the same name, Joseph. Are you sure? Yeah. I will invite him. You will see him. Papa Mobutu called Papa Diangienda. I want you to come into my house. This and this. He was a president. Papa Diangienda, of course, he will honor him. When he went there, the people who brought there, who came from the United States, those astronauts, the same clothes Papa Diangienda was wearing that day. That's the same clothes they saw. They have that picture they took on the moon. So. Just who can understand, if that man is a man like you and I, how somebody can see him in the moon? But those are the secrets, they can't say that. We know that. It's a time, everything has a time, but they're not going to say that now because they know if you say, the world of course is going to look at well, who's that man? And there's a people here I know, Papa John is behind the camera, he knows, we've been talking about that. He has a friend who's close also from the Kimbangu. He's from Ethiopia. He lives in Missouri, St. Louis. He's been doing the research about that. He found out, even now, he's trying to find if he can speak to the late wife of Armstrong, because she's still alive. Because we just want her to seek to make them speak, because she knows about that thing happened. But at least there's even a video in a YouTube. I believe it might be in a YouTube right now. When they can say, they say, well, yeah, she's a man, she's a person. They saw somebody. That was Papa Diangienda. They took the picture, they took it in the Congo. So, Papa Diangienda did a lot. Really a lot. Spiritual, a lot. Those who know the Nigeria, I've got a year about Biafra. It was one of these, it was a time Nigeria was going to be split. There was a big rebellion with Biafra. And the president of Nigeria came in the Congo. When he came in the Congo, at the airport, he saw Mobutu welcome him. Then he asked Mobutu, can I see the son of Samuel Kimbangu? I need to meet with him. Mobutu said, yeah, he's there. Because usually when they have those ceremonies, all the personality was invited to be present. But Mobutu was not even expecting the president of Biafra will be more interesting to meet Papa Diangienda inside him. And when he met Papa Diangienda, he said, please, I know your father did a lot. Can you pray for us so you can stop the war in Biafra? That war end. Papa Diangienda handed that war in Biafra in a spiritual way. So Papa
up what he was saying, you read your Bible, that should give you some numbers. And as sport speakers do say, numbers don't lie.
Who said that?
Numbers don't lie. 1 + 1 will all be 2. You try it out, you'll find out 1 + 1 is 2. Numbers don't lie. So let's give it up. Well, give it up. That was Brother Joseph giving us some statistics. And now, please, we're going to take some names for those who want to ask some questions. Wazana Mutuna, Tolinguto Zwakombo, Otuna na Professor Makidi, Otuna na Professor Freeman, Otuna na Papa Jose. Just remind yourself, we talked about the greatness of Papa Diangienda Kuntima. He's centenary, 100 years, what he has done, his spiritual values, what we share as a Kimbangu, stuff like that. That's what we're talking about here. If you have a question, you want to know something, you know, it might be related to the science, but also a little bit relation to spirituality. So please bring those questions out so our board can answer them. If we cannot answer them, trust me, we'll take those questions and do some more research and get back to you. So we're taking names for questions. Tuzako Kombo, Kona Mituna, Ozana Mutuna, s'il vous plaît. Chalo Poko na Koloto Zakombo na yo. Papa Simba. Yes. Next, Mama Gael. So Mama Gael, no? Next, any more questions? We're taking names for questions. You might want to go home and say, hey, you went home 2 hours, man, where was you? They might be asking in Germany. How about that? All right. All right, going once, twice. I'm setting up. Let me start it over. Going once, twice. That's it. No more. For my team. Let's go.
My first question going to Dr. Freeman. As an African American doctor, I want to know do you believe on African America going back to the motherland one day? Because I follow up Jose say about the people of Israel. They've been in Egypt, but God made a promise they have to leave and go back to the motherland. It seems like for God, you will never remain to the slavery country. You have to go back to the motherland. Do you believe one day, like African America, they will go back to the motherland?
Thank you.
And if so, as with your experience as a lawyer, what would you do? What would be like some strategy to help all those African Americans to go back to the motherland?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Mother,
I'm sorry.
where's my microphone?
Oh,
I want it to be used.
okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, very good. That's a great question. And I guess it has several levels for me. Emotionally, and then intellectually, legally, there are a number of, and so I don't know if I'm going to respond to all of those things. But I will say this. One of the things I try to do is transcend in my communications language, space. We're divided by land and water and all these things, and you got the Africans in Brazil, you got the Africans here, you got the Africans in Africa. So I don't particularly identify with any of that. I haven't decided to have my blood tested to see where in Africa I was born. I don't give a darn. Okay? I just soon identify with the Kimbanguas, with the folks that I know in Ghana, in Nigeria, and I don't want to separate myself from any black man, or from any man, but in particular any black man. That's me.
Yep.
I'm not asking anybody else to feel that way. I'm sharing with you how I feel emotionally. Legally, as bad as the laws and the actions of authorities are in the U.S., I sincerely believe that on paper we still have in the U.S. one of the purest forms of Constitution. And we do a pretty decent job of living the words. When we were young, and I count you amongst me now, we just didn't have any rights. I remember as a young man, I lost 2 jobs. One as a McDonald's manager and one as a manager of a gas station. We had different shifts. There was a morning shift, an evening shift, and an overnight shift. In both instances, McDonald's stayed open all night and the gas station stayed open all night. I was fired from both those jobs because somebody on a different shift stole money. I wasn't even there, but I was the only black manager, so they fired me. That's probably one reason I ended up in employment discrimination. Back in the day, white folks did what the devil they wanted to do, and there was no recourse. Today, it shouldn't happen like that, and for the most part, we do a pretty decent job. In Brazil, for instance, some 80% of the people in the state of Bahia and its capital of Salvador self-identify being of African heritage. But they have never one time elected a black mayor or a black governor. Now that just blew my mind, to be honest with you. I couldn't understand it until going and living there for a while. And one of the things I discovered was they don't have jurisdictional representation, meaning that a certain district, you elect your own official to go to the city council. they have all of the representatives of the City Council of Salvador, for instance, are candidates at large. So a small group of white folks with enough money and publicity, etc., can put people, they elect people to represent everybody. So the first meetings I went with the city council, they were all white people sitting there making decisions for all the black people. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't these people connect those dots? You know? But the truth of the matter is that they have a history that's quite different than the history of the United States. They have a large history of a military dictatorship. The people of Brazil will celebrate all day and all night, but they will not demonstrate. If you watch TV today, you'll see the young people all over America demonstrating against the gun laws in America. There is no such culture of demonstration for purposes of elevating your status in Brazil. Then the other thing is you have the the Christian, the Catholic Church, and the Pope is infallible, and you don't challenge infallible people. So you can't challenge your government, you can't challenge your religious leaders. What they say goes, and that's how they live. So you can't go over there. Now, Joe Beasley, Dick, let's go there and get the people all riled up. This is wrong. Well, they don't see it as being wrong. They've been that way all of their lives, and it's going to take some time to change. So I only use that as a way of demonstrating that in terms of law, the United States Constitution, they didn't include black people when they was writing that stuff. That was for white people, white landowners. And then when you got the courts, who are supposed to be independent in the U.S., when they had enough courage to say, well, yes, that's not right. These are human beings, they got to be included. Those are milestones. And they're milestones that have not been reached in other lands, in this particular instance, in Brazil. Yes, do I think black influence from America or from Brazil? I don't care where it comes from, to be honest with you. It goes to, and there are things in the laws and in the execution of the laws, in the courts, that in my view need to be improved vastly in Africa, in the Congo as well. Some 20 years ago, well, that's pretty close, it was some 18 years ago to be exact, the Minister of Mines from the Congo came and stayed with me for a week. And we went up to the United Nations and we did some things together. And he tried to get me to find African Americans, consistent with your thought, let's get back there and do things, who were going to invest. Once the folks of Belgium were pulling out, he wanted to try to get African Americans to come in and fill the void. And I'm just sharing with my truth. There was a lot of turmoil going on, and he convinced me, and I believed him, that, Kabila's got things under control. Tell your people that it's okay, come on in, He went back, and 2 weeks later, the older Kabila was killed.
Right.
All right, and that shook up, that shook folk up, So the point I'm making is, you need a system, and people got to believe in the system, and people have to live by the system. You got to get officials who are committed to living by the rule of law that benefits everybody, not just a few. And am I committed to doing that wherever I am? Yes. Will I come back and take one of the 320, how many houses did y'all build down there? 326?
that's the project, but
Right.
right now it's about 51. I was
51.
talking about Kendolo, hein?
Right.
Parce que la visite Kendolo,
Okay.
projet c'est
Yeah.
pour 326 maisons.
Yeah.
Actually, we have another 50 other.
All right, well, give me one of them. I'm cool with that. Yeah, you know, but the point I'm making is I don't want distance or language or anything to separate us. Okay, so in that regard, using the concept of the returning son to Africa, I don't have a problem with that, but I'm gonna be African wherever I go. I'll be African Chinese, you know, if I go to China. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, I'm down for that. Do I have plans to move from the United States at this point in time? No, I don't. You know, never say never is all I can tell you. But in spirit, I agree with that concept entirely. Have I responded to your question?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
You gonna follow?
My second question go to Papa Jose Nzekani.
Would you
Yeah.
please give us a minute?
Yeah.
We need to do rotation because
Um,
it might be important. Now, Papa Ntuzi atuni Papa
Papa Nsimba.
Papa Ntimba
Yes.
atuni Papa Freeman soki andimaka maloba wana ke un jour ba africain américain bakozonga na mboka na bango ndenge totangi na eloko wana me dabo moto soko tuni eke aza na programme ube na plan ya kozonga na afrique en tout cas aza nango te mais on peut dire jamais akolobaka ke jamais donc bref papa alobi ke langage wana ya monoko na ye ezalaka te parce que sika nyonso akozala aza ne africain akende na afrique akende na chine akende na europe akotikalaka africain mais eloko wana spirituellement ezali na motu na ye mais plan ye azala yakanga bisaka obe aza na programme ya kozonga nano eza nango te mais bakamba wana bandako wana batongi soki tokabeli ye ndako moko akosepela trop akosepela trop akoyali na nkamba akoya te po avanda me akosepela ne makasi soki azwi maison na nkamba bref ezalaki motu na papa Nsimba na réponse ya papa.
You asked me about that legally. The last 20 years of my life, I have not been as eminently involved legally as I could be because I've sort of switched my attention to education. If people don't understand their rights and aren't good citizens, no matter what the laws are, they ain't gonna get their due share. Okay, so what I've been doing for the last 20 years is trying to educate black people in terms of what the laws are, what they need to do to put themselves in a positions to use the laws, because having a hammer and not knowing how to use a hammer ain't gonna make a hammer much good. Okay, so education has been my focus for the last 20 years, and the laws are important, but unless the people get together and say, let's make some, laws are made by those in power, black, white, yellow, whatever they are. If they in power today, they're making laws to protect themselves. Until the masses say, hey, we are going to be included in this process, and you're going to hear me, just like those children are today. When you go home, you're going to see those kids all over the TV. Until that happens, and somebody got to get hurt sometimes, like Martin Luther King got shot, people do get hurt. But if we ain't got the nerve, including myself, to go out there and die for what you believe in, at least get up and create some laws and do some voting to help your own circumstances. Ain't nobody giving you nothing. Okay, and so now folks of the church hierarchy are a little different than folk of governmental hierarchies, to be sure. But I want folks to stand up and say, hey, I'm willing to chip in and do my share, but I also am demanding that y'all give me my share of whatever the pie is in return. Okay, I'm just trying to give you as full an answer as I possibly could.
Second question goes to Papa Jose. I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask you the question in French. Papa Nathalie have to explain. to the room. Papa José, ma question est celle-ci. Vous avez parlé de Papa Fumalongo, Papa Diangienda, que nous considérons comme étant un phénomène. Mais il s'avère que tu as plus parlé de miracles. Papa Fumalongo, on l'a retrouvé à la Lune. Papa Fumalongo, il a arrêté le processus de l'esclavagisme. Mais quand je me réfère à l'histoire de Jésus-Christ, on a accepté qu'il est Jésus. C'était plus par rapport au message, c'était pas vraiment plus par rapport au miracle. Parce que s'il faut tenir compte du miracle, nous dirons que lui-même il a promis qu'il y aura ceux qui vont faire plus que lui. Maintenant, quel sera le message que tu peux donner à nos jeunes qui sont ici à la salle par rapport au message? Quel sera vraiment le message que tu peux dire à ces jeunes? Et ces jeunes, à partant, ils vont rester avec un message qui Papa Fumalongo a donné un message que non, le message là, ça va rester en eux jusqu'à ceux qui vont grandir. Parce que le message a un pouvoir, comme on dit, la parole a un pouvoir. Il n'y a pas un message si spécifique ou spécial de Papa Fumalongo que tu peux donner à nos jeunes qui sont dans la salle.
Brother Timber follow-up has to do, is directed to Brother Joseph. He said he ever spoken about Papa Diangienda. And the content of that speech had so many miracles, what he has done, stop the slavery, all that stuff. But if you look at the life of Jesus Christ, if we know Jesus today, because of the message, what was the message? That's what we remember. Because if it was just because of miracles, he himself promised that somebody will come and do more than I've done. It's on the Bible. Somebody will do more than I've done. So miracles are good, but the message of Jesus is still the core of a spirituality from then to now. So please walk us through. Take us there. What was the message of Papa Diangienda? So that the little kids, our generation, young generation, when they grow up, they might have something to meditate on, to remember. He was Papa Diangienda Kuntima. His Eminence Diangienda Kuntima said this. That was the message they probably may be looking for, you know, to try to build some kind of relationship, some knowledge, all that stuff. So that was the question of Papa Kuntima de Papa José. Papa José, à vous l'antenne.
Yeah, merci beaucoup. Peut-être on va, comme il a posé en français. Bon, merci beaucoup. Je crois que je n'ai pas voulu, comme j'avais dit, je n'ai pas voulu répéter ce que le professeur a dit, parce que le professeur avait dit beaucoup de choses par rapport à, même il a parlé, nous ne fumons pas, nous ne prenons pas l'alcool. Je n'ai pas voulu répéter compte tenu du temps. Et aussi, nous aurons le temps le soir de dire, de se partager. Ça, ce n'est pas, nous tous, nous allons faire un partage de ce que nous savons, c'est Papa Diangienda. Mais en bref, ce que je peux dire pour répondre à ta question rapidement, parce que compte tenu aussi du temps, je crois que pour nos enfants, tout le monde, le message de Papa s'est résumé en 3. Bolingo Bébé comme ça. Donc Papa Diangienda, il nous a enseigné l'amour et il nous a aussi recommandé de respecter les commandements de Dieu et il nous a aussi recommandé de faire le travail, c'est ça l'œuvre de l'Église. So brief, what I'm trying to say, answering to that question, I didn't want to repeat myself what the professor already has been said. So I was trying to be brief I can. I was trying to present some of the aspects people maybe that may not be known about Papa Diangienda. And like I said, the evening we're going to have more time and we can share more about exchanging what we know or what people knows we can exchange. But to answer to his question directly, Papa Diangienda, his message was in resume 3 things: love, commandment, and work. Those 3 things, if you combine those 3 things, that's the key. So you're gonna have love, you're gonna love your brother, you're gonna love everybody, you're gonna love your God. You see, and you have to respect the commandment. That's why in the Kimbangu church, every occasion of prayer, of gathering together as a member of the church, the Exodus 20 will be read. Have to remind the people about 10 commandments. And they walk. Today, when we're going to go in Kamba, you will see those who never been, you will see. It's a walk. Even that's what they're doing here. In the hand, you're going to see people came from all over the state. Texas, Maine, DC. That's a walk. Because they spend the money, they drove. It's a part of the walk of God. It's included the love too. Because if you don't have the love, you're not going to do that walk. So those are the, how can I resume the message of Papa Diangienda: love, commandment, and walk. We have to combine those three things to be successful in our life and to be close to the God. I don't know if I make myself understand.
That's deep.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very deep.
Thank you, Professor Makidi. Go ahead.
Just a footnote. Just a footnote. For many times that I listen to Papa Diangienda, very seldom that he said, I said. He always referred to his father. He repeated, reinforced everything that his father stood for. For example, I didn't say it earlier, but if you go back to Papa Simon's speech, not a speech, sermon in Manzasanda, one of the things that I return everything, but the thing that I keep in my situation here is that he wants us against materialism. He wants us against cultural imperialism. What did he mean? And he said it clearly. Your children will leave Africa and go overseas. Some would come back, some will never come back. But don't lose your language. You have to teach your children and your grandchildren your language. That's the foundation of our culture. God has given every region a language. It is a pact we're supposed to keep for communication. I speak Italian, still speak a little bit of Latin. I speak French. I speak, I hope I can speak English. Kikongo, of course. Lingala Swahili. Some Portuguese. But, when you ask me, and if you call me Francophone or Anglophone, I get very angry. Because I'm Congo. I'm not Francophone. I'm not Anglophone. And as much as it is difficult for us to teach our children our language, we must try. Alex Ely, the author of Roots, his grandmother could only remember 2 words, maybe 3. Kambi Bulongo and Kunta Kinte. Those words helped Alex Ely to trace back that name. And the people say, yeah, that river is there. And the Kinte family is there. So he began to do his research on that. So let's not forget that. We are part of that fulfillment of the prophecy. It's not a prophecy anymore. It's our reality. So that's one thing that I wanted to share with you. And I would say to you, it's very difficult. But we must do it. That's the only footnote I wanted to put.
Thank you, Professor McKinney. In answer of that question,
All over the world, even I myself, I was wondering, black people in America, they suffer as we suffer here in Africa?
Yeah.
I was wondering, is that true? But me being here in America, seeing our brothers and sisters suffering as we suffer in Africa, I came to say, oh no, it's the reality. So, because we are living it. Not only here in in America, no. Everywhere you go, black people, we are suffering. We are suffering. So that's what Papa Fumalongo was always on his messages talking about black people suffering, and then how we can get rid of that enslavement, you know, because it's a part. Yeah. So that's the only thing that I wanted to add about. Remember that Papa Fumalongo was always on black people suffering. So there is a reason behind it. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much. Mama Gaël, to the suite. Mama Gaël, s'il vous plaît.
Okay, so my questions, I think maybe if they're coming later tonight, I'll be able to ask them, because I was just curious about maybe the last memories you, Professor Madini, had on Papa Diangienda, maybe the last thing you can remember about him. We didn't know personally because I wasn't born when he died, but my parents told me a lot about him, and I don't really know, like, I do know about the miracles and everything, but it's more about his teachings that I know. It's kind of like, I can answer his questions, like what he said about black people suffering around the world, that's true, and he was trying like to have the youth to work, because that youth, like the young, like among ASEAN people, are our future. And so I have like a lot to say about that, and the questions, just like I said, I wanted to ask, but it will be better if maybe later tonight you can come and tell us more about that. And it's the same thing for you, Professor Freeman. What was your opinion? What did you think of the Congo, the Kimbangu community when you went to Congo? I wanted to know more about that, and maybe to got my questions. But yeah, because of time, maybe we can do that later tonight or tomorrow. We're still here, but thank you very much for everything you told us today. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be very brief because my last meeting with the chef spiritual was, to both of us, a sad meeting. Because like I said, I came in as a very young man. I didn't care about being fired. All I wanted is to achieve the results. And when I came, the school had a better reputation. The kids were unruly, professors not coming out, not showing up. So I told you in my office, I said, you are here because the Kimbangista church signed your contract to get a visa for the Congo. If you tell me again that because of your religious beliefs you don't work on Wednesday, you're out of this school. This happened with Haitian professors because some of them had some voodoo worships, married to some snakes or things like that. So I said, well, that's it. You came here because the Kimbangista people, the church, invite you here. And now you don't want to work. The kids come and say, you can be crying to be enrolled. And now you're not showing up, or you're messing up, you're out. So I was so strict. People begin to say, get him out of here, get him out of here. But within that year, it's unfortunate Mama Rose is no longer with us because she could testify. Within that 1 year I was there, nobody talked about Kimbangu as a bad school. So when I went to see him, and I said, Papa, I'm sorry, but I came to tell you that I'm leaving. And he said, why? Because of this old man that bothering you? You know I'm here. I said, I know you are there, but I'm not leaving. I'm going for a specialization to Italy, and I'll be back. But he was sad and I was sad. I didn't want to leave, but it was just for me an opportunity to improve on my education. And unfortunately, like they say, l'homme propose and Dieu dispose. When I finished my studies in Italy, my suitcase is ready to go back, and the message came that I was not going back to the Congo. I had to go to the embassy. That's where I was appointed. And appointed at the embassy as economic advisor to the ambassador, to the embassy. It didn't last. The ambassador made a big mistake, went to fight, and so he was removed, and I was sent to New York instead of going back home. And it was in New York that I decided that, as Professor Freeman said, what he saw, he put those people in the same category as Donald. Well, I just could not continue to serve the government of Congo under Mobutu. It was impossible. Morally speaking, not the cars that I had, not the beautiful apartment that I had on the east side of Manhattan, that was not important to me. It is the work that I came to do here. So if you kill 72 or 100 students, and you tell me that the students attacked the police, only 2 that died, when I know the names of some of those who died, and I knew them, or maybe the brothers were in school with me. So that's where I decided to get out of the country, government. Unfortunately, once you do that, you cannot go back, because the man stayed there for 32 years. And every year my children were growing up, they were in American schools, they only function in English, they don't function in French. They speak French, but they don't function in French. So, and here I am now. And believe me, I was very, very, very active in the US in opposing Mobutu, knowing that the US loved Mobutu. I demonstrated, organized conferences, I blasted those people from the State Department, and so I could not go back home. That's what happened. But my last meeting was that. We agreed, the chef spiritual and I, go and learn more, and you come back. Had I stayed, he would have sent me again back overseas, and then I was going to go back to lead the university. That was the plan.
Thank you very much. I think the time has consumed us. We're going to be honest with that. As we can see the faces,
And I'm going
I'm holding on to that.
Joe,
But thank them for the brilliant job. So we're going to ask Brother Joseph to make the last remarks and then to close the conference. Brother Joseph, please.
Thank you. Kimbangu, we're gonna do it our way, right? Mali les amis, les affiches à papa. Kimbangu soye! Kimbangu soye! Kimbangu soye! Oye, 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 espoir du monde, Église universelle. Papa Simon Kimbangu Kiangani, oye! Papa Simon Kimbangu Kiangani, oye! Papa Simon Kimbangu Kiangani, oye! Oye, oye, Papa Simon Kimbangu Kiangani, Molimo Santo. Olinga, olinga te, kutz ke kutz. Ye kaka, ye kaka, ye kaka. Merci mingi avant la kota na monoko ya bapaya, poneza ya bapaya. Na lingi spécialement to présenter ba tout ozana bango na salle, ezali sengo mingi pona tumkola lelo. Ezali vime sengo. Pambate, ce qui totali, bazana besoin ba biso pe to yeba bango. Eza bon mote. So I'm saying we're gonna present, try to quickly, because I know some of you tomorrow we're not gonna be here. So you can know who's in the room, who's who in general. So we have a delegation of the Kimbangu's members came from different states. I'm gonna ask, starting by men, those who came from men. You know? And we're going to ask for delegation from Washington, D.C. D.C. oye! D.C. oye! D.C. oye! Oye!
Mana capital.
And Texas. Texas. Texas, oye! Texas, oye!
France tranquille.
Texas. Papa, no, even if you came late, but come here in the front, but kids knows like you wanna. Just come on. That's okay.
Viens devant.
Viens devant. He was the one of the speakers who the flight was delayed from Dallas, Texas. He's the head of the church in the Dallas, Texas. Yeah.
Have a seat, bro.
And we have a delegation now from Charlotte. Charlotte. Hello. Charlotte, oye.
Oye. Pana bali ganzambe.
Have a seat, please. And we have a delegation. Delegation? No, I don't think so. California. Oh, yeah, California. Oh, California. Please stand up. It's behind the Nancy. Where Mama Nancy? No, she's not. Probably she's staying.
Now she's staying.
So, California, oye. California, oye. California, oye. But now Atlanta, ATL, they're hosting. That's why you're gonna see probably they're not in the room, huh? Because they are, you know, people also usually sometimes they are busy. So Atlanta, oye. We are okay. Papa Natalicio is there, myself, Mama Seb. Atlanta.
ATL.
Oh, Mama Seb, come on. Atlanta, oye. Oh, Mama Muero. Atlanta, oye. Atlanta, oye. Sus de l'église de Kimbangu aux États-Unis. Bon, please sit down. Now it was, at least we know where the Kimbangu came from. It's a time also to present our brothers and sisters. I think Professor Makidi, you already saw him. Right? Disappointed. You know, for say my kid, little story. Biso ba Kimbangu se nakasi tolanda ki papa mfumalongo, papa simo Kimbangu kyanga. Na sanzo eleki alobaki nini? Ba meri bazokende na nkamba zande wana te. Alobaki ba okendo kunda mutu na nkamba zande wana te. Bolandaki Esi bolandaki mamnolo. Okay. So batoyo bazokende kunda bazana biso na sali. Donc boza ba privilège ya komona bango ya kozala na bango avant bakende pa papa. Na nkamba na jie. Papa Thomas azalaki moko kati na biso ayebaki papa. Na 1961 ntango azalaki na Congo. Ntango ayaka wa mutu aliboso pena introduire église Kimbangu eza ye. Aza américain noir, azalaki missionnaire na contre ba Baptist Church. Abotela mwana ye malheureusement aza te. On wana mususu abotela ye na Congo. Na 1986 mwasi na ntango akufaka, mwasi na lapaka ndaye bozo musanga na mabele ya bakoko. Lokola abatumbaka bazwaki poussière na ye bamemaki yango na Kinshasa, papa na ngenda apesaka bakenda kuna na nkamba. Cimetière ne ezali ti lelo église asala tombe makambo nyonso. Ye moko akufaki na 1912. Aza mutu ya bato nyonso. Ba Ghanaiens, ba Ethiopiens, na 2012, I'm sorry. Tango akufaki bato nyonso bakowela ye. Afa ya okunda na Ghana, afa ya na Ethiopie, afa ya boy. Bon, bana pe ba bombe ezate azaka mutu kuna ezapaka Afrique place nyonso. Après, depuis 2012 ba bomba ba putulu wana. Tina 2000 nde toza 18 ans, tovandela likambo wana le 3 janvier. Déjà na 2016 ta ngana zaki na nkamba na papa Job apozaki problème wana pa ya papa ya ba likambo ya okundama ya papa to ma papa lobaki problème ezate bakoya. Bo famille pe ezalaki nano mwa compromis vraiment ya makasi ezana nte mais tovandela likambo le 3 janvier ya année oyo. Tokutani tosololi nde ba ko décider bazokende kunda na nkamba. Yango moni papa message wana tango topesaki décision famille yango moni papa apesaki message wana bato nyonso balandaki. Famille wana baza na biso awa elongo. Eza esengo te? Esengo! So, Dr. Thomas, I know I've been telling about Papa Dugu and all the family things going on in July. So I'm gonna ask you if Mama Alice first. Mama Alice nene verbe. If you can please stand up. Yeah, my papa tanga kufa bara mwasi nusu. Mwasi yo atikala gne Mama Alice. Tozo kene na nkamba na jie. Hey, Dr. Thomas, please Gigi, if you can stand up. Anyone that is also ya papa Thomas. Tozo kene na nkamba. Hey, Mama. Hello. Ye mwasi na ye. Donc bana mususu bazate donc famille oyo ezokende nkamba na jie bango oyo ba mususu bazate bazokende kunda papa Thomas. Ezali esengo mingi peut-être na suka baba bima okokanga photo ensemble totindela pe papa monake bana na ye tout ça pour encadrer déjà batu oyo ye azoyamba po eze esengo likambo ngo ebuteli awa nzamba papa osepelaja soka monike biso awa tozo sepelisa bango po eloko bazokende osala eza lokola prophétie ya Joseph nde totanga na Bible mikuwa ezonga na mboka na ye. Yangwana really we are very happy, the Kimbangu community are very happy and they are special. But most of them they don't even know you. They just heard about you. They heard about Papa Du. They heard about the spiritual leader message because when the spiritual leader speaks, everybody has WhatsApp. Everybody go to YouTube. We follow the spiritual leader all worldwide. So they already knew what's going to happen in July to the spiritual leader. Now I was telling them we are going to July with God, of course, blessing. So to bear it for memorial service for Papa Du, this the family. But money family to pay some mote, to pay some mama bogaga. Voilà. Vamos à l'épisode d'obité. Papa Du Thomas, bauti Alabama, baega spécialement pour les Cambodge. Mama Alice Navanda Kam, bauti Alabama, de Moeba Zanabiso Bezate, ba programme Bezebele. Really, we are very thankful to the hand. We're going to take a picture so we can have a picture taken for everybody so the spiritual leader can see. All right, thank you so much. Please have a seat. Nakanisi na oyo nde tokosisa na biso na suka papa na teleso tokokanga mafoto normalement tokobongisa na nsima wana tozwa foto na ensemble soki mpe liboso mpe nsima epuis bongo baoyo tokobongisaka biso balimbangiso tokosalela ndeni soki tozozonga mara moko ndako tozosala non stop na yebi te wana tokoyokana. So I think we're done. So we're gonna just close the ceremony with our prayer. Again, thank you to everybody, especially Dr. Freeman, Dr. Makidi, Dugu family for being here. That's really shown some love to us. Well, we're gonna say a prayer. Let's pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Papa Simon Kimbangu Kiangani, thank you so much. If we are here today because of you, because you blessed this day, because you gave us to go, a go pass to do this ceremony, and we are pleased, we are very happy. I know on the beginning we call your name, you were among us. Listening to everything happen here. Look, all your children came from different states. They came here. Papa, bless everybody. Let the few words we take here, let those few words stay embedded in our hearts so we can still continue to remember. We can know our true, who we are, our true identity. Then, today, we can continue our ceremony tomorrow, tonight and tomorrow. Right now, we're gonna go back home. Some of them, they will drive Alabama, wherever they go back. Please bless all your children today. Papa, today is your centenary. Papa Diangienda, give a blessing to all your children. I know you are happy where you are today because we knew we can talk about you in this country, in the United States in 2018. Because of what you did to us, because really you were a good man of God. You did all kinds of things for people. You teach us the good way, love, commandment, and walk. Thank you again. Bless everybody. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.